How much money does the biggest creator in golf make? Now, this is following up the video I did last week of Grant Horvath, who has really been like the most up and coming YouTube golfer, YouTube creator. He's definitely been top dog for a long time. He definitely has some competition now. We'll get to that in a little bit, but the long-standing, one of the most influential people in golf, literally rated number 16 above like so many pro golfers, broadcasters, people in the space, Rick Shiels. Rick Shiels, golf's biggest YouTuber, who's racked up over 750 million views and built a multi-million pound brand, which we're going to get to, relationships with some of the best golfers and companies in the world, and a team of staff, and even a hit podcast. So Rick is the OG. I mean, if you came into YouTube golf, you know Rick Shiels. He's been around absolutely forever. Like if we just go back to his oldest uploaded video, 12 years ago, showing a golf swing. 12 years ago, this guy was uploading videos to YouTube. Hey, breaking the third wall right before we start this video. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, but you watch these videos and enjoy them, hit that subscribe button. A vast majority of people who watch these videos just click and leave. Just hit that subscribe button. He's got most popular videos that peak at 7 million views. He's got a bunch over like 3, 4, 5 million views. He's got matches against tour pros. Like, this guy has been doing it forever. He obviously started off as like an instructional, just purely golfing professional, coaching, teaching, and he's basically found a way now to take these types of videos but make them entertaining, to not just have them be purely instructional, but to also have them be entertaining. And right now he's bridging through, a wealth of content. He has videos of him playing in scrambles. He has videos of him playing solo stroke play. He has videos unboxing new clubs. He has videos trying to do a challenge, hit hole-in-ones. Like, his whole channel, if you just go look, that's 4 different videos, right? 4 different videos that are all very different concepts. And if you just go look at 4 videos in a row, 4 videos in a row, 4 videos in a row from Rick, they're all going to be sort of jumping back and forth between all of those different value props and showing you all these different things, which I think is part of the reason why he's so big. But anyways, why are we talking about the money thing today? Obviously, this is something that people are just genuinely interested in. I'm not the first person ever to talk about how much YouTube creators make. I'm definitely maybe the first or one of the first to do it with YouTube golfers, but it's definitely something that's existed for a long time on YouTube. So I know a lot of old people kind of get upset sometimes with, oh, you shouldn't be talking about people's money. It's like, well, number one, let's just put this out there. This is all mathematical calculations based off data we have available to us and very advised estimates on things like RPMs and CPMs, which we'll get to in a second. But obviously Rick is not telling me how much money he's making, and I'm not claiming to know how much money Rick has in his pocket at all times. This is purely a calculation based off public information. But what it does and why it's interesting is, well, number one, it's interesting. But number two, it helps kind of show people, I think, what's possible. And I think this one specifically, I'm really excited to share with you guys because it's going to shock you. Let's dive right into it without further ado. So what I want to look at today, quickly, let's just do a little update here. Bryson DeChambeau, after the Trump video, he is currently sitting for the last 28 days at 32.5 million views, which, okay, how much is that? Well, let's just go look. The next closest is Good with 14.38 and Rick Shiels with 12.5. So Bryson is the biggest creator in the last month by over double, which is absolutely insane. So obviously this video had a ton to do with it, and he's been posting a ton of shorts, which also counts towards those numbers. But regardless, it's very interesting. But anyway, so who we're here to talk about today is Rick Shiels. Now, it's not so simple as me just looking at this number right here on view stats and being like, that's how much it is. Because what this app or this program fails to be able to do is understand different CPMs based off categories. And in the last video I did with Grant, it was very interesting. I had some messages and some responses from other creators who were basically like trying to tell me how much Grant made based off their niche. But surprisingly, what I think they didn't understand is that golf YouTube has very different CPMs than other avenues in YouTube. Well, what's a CPM? Okay, let's just go through this real quick for those of you who missed the other videos. CPM stands for cost per milli, which is how much YouTube charges an advertiser per 1,000 views. So once you reach a certain threshold, you apply to join the Google Partner Program. Google can then place advertisements on your videos without you really having to do anything. YouTube also sells those advertisements to the advertisers, and they're charging a rate that's extremely fluid. It's not one set rate for your channel forever. It's based off a variety of factors like how advertiser friendly it is, what's the content about, and really how many advertisers are interested at that current time in challenging for your video. That is where our CPMs in golf get so high. Because if you're talking about other just more general creators, like say a Mr. Beast or whatever, you're gonna have CPMs that are a little lower because there's just really there's no hyper targeting going on. Advertisers don't know exactly who they're going to have seeing their videos. Whereas in golf, like, you know, like if you advertise on a Rick Shiels video, you know that it's golfers who are going to be watching. It's golfers who likely have some money, because typically the golf audience is relatively affluent, and they're going to be able to go and spend it on whatever products you want to market. Now, obviously, Rick isn't being paid by Kirkland here to do this, but I'm just using it as an example. If Kirkland wanted to then advertise on top of this, they could have a pre-roll ad roll in front of it. And what happens is, because there's so many golf companies, so many brands looking to make money off golfers, they then will compete for the advertising spots on what is relatively few amounts of creators making content in that golf space who are advertising directly to golf audiences. And that is why our CPMs go up and up and up and up. Whereas Mr. Beats might have a $6 or $7 CPM, we in golf can see up to like $50 CPMs, which is crazy. It's a huge difference. And we're not the only niche that's like that. There's other niches that are like that. Finance is one of the most lucrative niches. If you're talking about credit cards and investment accounts, you can get really high CPMs as well. But anyways, so what we're looking at here is not just this number, because this number is based off inaccurate CPMs. Just a little bit more education. What we're also using to measure how much we as creators get paid, we get shown an RPM. So for every CPM on YouTube, there's also an RPM, a revenue per mile, which is essentially how much YouTube takes, or how much we get as creators after YouTube takes their cut per 1,000 views. So YouTube and we as creators split the ad revenue that comes from advertisers per 1,000 views. YouTube gets a cut, we get a cut. Again, it's not just like a blanket 60-40 split. There's tons of variables, but obviously for today's video, we're going to be assuming two things. And this is based off so much of my own data from my own channel, videos that I've had in the past that are longer, that have gotten X amount of views, whatever, but also based off a ton of data I've been given by people inside the space, top creators and creator adjacent, people who work for them, whatever. This is all, I believe, very, very relevant and accurate information, but we are staying on the lower end. So what we're going to be using is a $35 CPM today for Rick's channel and a $20 RPM. If you look at his channel and you know anything about golf CPMs, that is low. Like, there definitely are videos of his. I've seen it personally. CPMs get up to, like I said, $45, $50. But I don't want to completely overestimate this. And don't get me wrong, there'll be some videos, some of his shorter videos, maybe his 9-minute hole-in-one, where the CPM's maybe only like 15, 20 bucks, right? So there's going to be a game of averages, and that's why I'm kind of going in the middle. I think he absolutely, on longer videos like this hour and 44-minute Royal Troon video, could see up to like a $45, $50 CPM, but there are also videos that are going to be lower. So 35, I think, is a pretty good middle ground, and that's what we're going to be using to go off today. Again, just to give you a ballpark of where he's at. Okay, so what we're going to look at to start is the last 28 days. I'm going to break this down into 28 days, 365 days, and then lifetime of him as a creator, which is a very interesting number. Okay, let's dive into it. So 12.5 million views in the last 28 days. What does that look like? So in the last 28 days, we've seen 12.5 million views. We take that, we divide it by 1,000, and we get 12,500 advertising units for sale, in which Google can sell to advertisers. If we take that against a $35 CPM, how much we estimate YouTube would be charging, in the last 28 days, YouTube has sold $437,000 worth of advertisements on Rick's channel. Now, obviously, that's not what Rick is getting paid out. That is the RPM number here, which we're taking at $20, which still amounts to $250,000 in the last 28 days. Now, again, keep in mind, this is gross revenue. This is gross revenue, which means the total amount of money coming in from advertisers to Rick's channel from YouTube. That's the other thing you have to keep in mind. Although Rick doesn't seem to do a lot of sponsored videos, he definitely has at least an apparel deal. He's always wearing this little yellow bird thing on his hat and on his clothes. He has done brand deals in the past, and I'm sure he will continue to. This isn't including that. This isn't including any additional revenue like merch or whatever else he's doing. This is just talking about the money coming in from YouTube AdSense. And obviously, like I said, gross revenue. This is not taking into account any of his operating expenses, taxes, all that. People like to point that out. I thought that was a duh thing. I thought people just knew that, but I guess not everyone runs a business, so apologies. This is gross revenue. This is not just how much he's taking to his buy. But in a month, that's approximately what YouTube will be paying him out. Not too bad. Not too bad for 28 days. Let's go look at 365 days. So if we look at 365 days, the last year, Rick has pulled about 119 million views, gained about 240,000 subscribers. This number is actually irrelevant. This might be just a little footnote for you guys. We'll always ask YouTubers, oh, how many subscribers do you have as a measure of success? this is really the number that matters. How many views do you have? That's how many products you can potentially be putting in front of people to sell, because YouTube is an advertising business. Whether it's Google putting the ads in front of your videos, whether it's you doing in-video advertisements, wearing products that are, whatever, this is what matters. How many views are you getting? So subscribers, yeah, it's a vanity metric. What really matters is views. So 119 million views in the last 365 days. We take that divided by 1,000, we got 119,000 advertising units for sale. $35 CPM amounts to $4.165 million in advertising sales by YouTube on Rick's channel. $20 RPM, $2.38 million in the last 365 days advertising revenue from YouTube. Again, so many factors that go into how much that's actually, taxes, paying all these people. But this is the number that YouTube's paying out. This is a YouTube that the number mathematically estimated that YouTube is paying out to Rick, which is crazy for that amount of views. Because really, one of the numbers I want to kind of give you a bit of a comparison for before we go look at the year or the lifetime of Rick's channel is if we just scroll down here, Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast is a great example, one that I kind of wanted to point out because I thought it'd be very interesting for you guys to see. If we look at Mr. Beast's channel, in the last 28 days, he has 2.8 billion views, with a B, billion views. Now, a lot of those are coming from shorts. Not all of those are going to be monetized. He just passed 300 million subscribers. But what I'm going to show you is just an estimate based off that, just for a little contrasting comparison with the CPMs I was talking about. Mr. Beast has talked many times about having about a $3 RPM, which would mean he likely has about a $7 to $8 CPM. Mr. Beast with 2.8 billion views in the last 28 days would have only had $6.84 million in advertising revenue based off his $3 RPM. 6.8 million for 2.8 billion views. If we scroll up and look at Rick's last 28 days having 12.5 million views, he's got $250,000. $250,000 based off his last 28 days. Mr. Beast, I just did this for fun. Take his 2,280,000 basically available saleable advertising units based off that 2.8 billion and apply a golf CPM to it. In the last 28 days, he would have made $45 million versus the 608. And then if we take in the last 365 days, he would have cleared over $500 million versus the estimated 78 that he actually did. This is just showing the power of golf CPMs. This is a regular YouTube CPM that's non-general, non-specific, non-niche. This is a hyper niche CPM that we have in golf. It's just insane. Now, you can't really get the views Mr. Beast is getting by being niche. I don't think anyone would ever pull, I think it's impossible to pull 2.28 billion views in a niche like golf. But it's just fascinating to see for comparison's sake. But anyways, let's go finish this off by looking at Rick's total amount. So in his lifetime, he has 8.24 million views on the channel. So he's approaching that billion view mark. Awesome. Biggest creator in golf. I think good. Let's just go take a look just for comparison's sake at their lifetime. Again, they have not been around nearly as long, but they're at about 434 million. And I would say it's in way less than about a quarter of the time. So definitely projected they could pass Rick one day. But right now, Rick and Bryson, if he keeps up this pace, definitely could. But right now, Rick definitely has the most all-time views of any golf creator, hence why he is the biggest. And if we go look at those lifetime numbers, scrolling up, 824 million, 824,000 advertising units, $35 CPM, $28 million, let's call it 29, in advertising sold on Rick's channel by YouTube, approximately, and then $20 RPM, we get 5 million in career earnings on YouTube for old Ricky boy. Again, mathematical estimations based off data we have provided, which I think is a relatively accurate estimate. This is the actual number would definitely look different than this, but this is definitely the closest ballpark you're going to get anywhere without Rick giving you his actual information, which obviously he should not and would never do to anyone. But it's very fascinating. Like, he is the biggest, one of the most influential people in the golf space. And I mean, even if you just take that number and compare it against a lot of like mid-level PGA Tour golfers, like, I mean, he's making more than a lot of professional golfers, because this also isn't the only this isn't the only income source for Ricky. Obviously, like I said, has long-standing deals like a Clear Apparel deal and other things. It's very fascinating. So I find this stuff super interesting. I think it's cool. Like, it's the purpose of it is not so much to be like oohing, awing just about the money, but it's about like the market cap in the space and what he's been able to do racking up nearly 3 million subscribers, close to 1 billion views on the platform in just this YouTube golf niche. It shows what's possible for channels like Bryce and for channels like Good and Grant coming up into the future. It's really cool. I think it's really exciting, and I think it's very interesting. So I hope you guys did enjoy this video. I wanted to kind of break it down. He was absolutely the most requested, creator for me to talk about. But if you guys have someone else you want me to talk about, drop it in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you in the next one.